You just got freaking clickbaited. Well, kind of. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys a bunch of VSTs that I feel like are underrated and have a bunch of good sounds in them that you guys are missing out on. And some of them, you know, you probably haven't heard of. Some of them you probably have, but you're gonna learn something. I bet you're gonna learn at least like 3.5 things or something, okay? I'm gonna go over a bunch of my favorite underrated plugins. I'm gonna make a beat out of it and use the techniques that I use with those plugins. And I hope you guys learned something along the way, but let's freaking get it. Sorry, my energy levels are a little high today. I don't know, I'm feeling a little wacky. Coming in at number 1 is the secret things in Omnisphere. Now, that's not very fun to hear. You guys know Omnisphere, but do you know the secret folders? Let's open up a fresh version of Omnisphere. What you're gonna do is click on this A tab and then change this from synth to sample. And now we're gonna click on this empty spot. And look at this, we got this browser. And rather than being the preset browser, it's the sound source browser. So here you're gonna have all the dry sounds that they make all of the Omnisphere presets out of. And there are a couple folders specifically that I wanna show you guys. So we're just gonna scroll down. I have a bunch more folders because I have expansions, but I don't really use those. We're gonna scroll down, and the sections I really like are phrases and textures. So we're gonna click on textures. Like I said, over the course of the video, I'm gonna make something and try to use all these plugins I'm talking about. So I'm gonna start us off with some sort of texture. It got a lot of ambient stuff. It's just good for, you know, making that nice, sweet ambience. Let's see what we can find. I like that. That's pretty sick. Alright, now that we got that ambience going, I'm gonna show you guys the phrase folder because there's a bunch of sick stuff in there too. I'm gonna go down this menu, find the phrases, and they got a whole bunch of stuff. Look at this, endless. And these are all things that you could start out a beat with. I just feel like a lot of people don't know about those folders in Omnisphere. I'm warning you guys, the phrases are kind of scary, but there's some cool stuff. I like that. Psych, that's not good. Let's find a better one. Okay, I like that. Now a lot of the time they're a little bit off time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bounce this out and then we can put it on time and then we can fit that texture in with it. Look at that, it's on time now. I'm gonna lower the BPM a little bit and then fit that texture in. Well, that's my example of the Omnisphere secret folders. Now we're gonna move on to the Tim Henson Neural DSP guitar vocoder thing. What's called Archetype Tim Henson. Yeah. Now, I showed you guys in the last video when I was making that indie beat, but it's so good that I have to talk about it 2 videos in a row. So, basically, you're gonna take any sound and it's gonna make chords out of it, but not in a normal vocoder way, in a sick vocoder way. So, it sounds really good on bass, but you can really put any sound in it, it'll sound cool. So, I'm gonna find a nice bass. Yeah, that'll do. And I'm gonna do a bass pattern and then we're gonna put the plugin on it. Now things are a little detuned, so I'm also gonna fix that phrase we got from Omnisphere. Alright, now we got a bonus plugin. And really this video, it's not like secret VSTs, it's just VSTs where I'm like, dude, I use this all the time. It's very useful. You should get it. You know, I pitched up the phrase from Omnisphere and it sounds very harsh. So we're gonna put Soothe on it. Now what Soothe does, it makes things sound softer. You got a harsh sound, it will make it less harsh. So you just mess with this depth. You can go through all the presets, but usually I just use the default one and it's gonna make that phrase be way less harsh. I'm getting off track. We were doing Tim Henson method. So we got the bass. I'm gonna leave a version of the bass that's just normal. And then I'm gonna duplicate it and put the plugin on the duplicated version. Just copy it over. We're gonna pitch it up. Yeah, probably up 2 octaves. You don't want it to be too low or the plugin kind of glitches out. Now I already have a mixer preset that has the effect how I want it, but I'm gonna just redo it because, I don't know, that'll be good. Then we can really see how it works, the inner workings of Leyva's mind. So with this plugin, usually what I do is I'll leave this stuff normal. I'll turn this off with this little button. I don't really fuck with those, but you can mess with all the settings. It's a guitar amp, it just works as a vocoder too. This is what we want. You click engage to turn on the vocoder, and then you see what key you're in. We are in F sharp minor. So we're gonna go in here and change this to F sharp minor. Now, my favorite chords in here are the 7th chords. Closed, open, I don't know. Those are both good. Triads, they got triads. They got lots of different types of chords. But basically, it's just taking your bass notes and then making chords out of them. So, let's try these. And the one thing is, it makes a really bad sound at first when you open it up. So this is probably gonna sound scary. But if you just keep playing it, then it will stop being bad. Now, what I'm wondering is, where's all that reverb coming from? Here it is. Let's turn that off. This is not doing what we want, so I'm going to reverse engineer it. Let's open up my preset I made for it and see what that's talking about, because it's not sounding how I would like it to. This is a great reason to save mixer presets. You guys should, every time you do a cool effect, save the mixer preset for it, and then you'll have infinite cool effects and you can use them all the time. Anyways, I'm going to turn off all this stuff. See, that's the bad sound. Alright, the bad sound stopped playing. I'm getting very sidetracked. This video is very scuffed. But here we have it. Look at these settings. I turned the unison down. I turned the width up. You could really copy all these settings. And then I just did, you can do closed or open 7th chords. You would try the other ones. They're interesting, but I like the 7th chords. Before, without the effect, it's like this. And with it, it's like this. Now, there's stuff we can add on to that. Like this preset, I have some Soothe on here, and another guitar amp, which is sick, Archetype Corey Wong. I really like the 80s pop chorus preset. So, you know, we can turn on all these things, and it'll probably sound even nicer. But yeah, that vocoder plugin is really sick. Try putting it on vocals. Try putting it on anything. Just use bass notes, because it's going to detect the bass notes and turn them into chords. So let's see what we're even making. I kind of forgot. That actually does sound sick. But the next plugin we're talking about is a contact bank. It's not even a plugin. It is Playbox. You guys have probably seen me use it. You've probably seen someone else use it. But Playbox is sick. Basically, it takes chords and then makes it so each note in the chord is a different instrument. And there's a lot of randomizing and customizing that you can do. If you open it up, it's gonna look like this. This looks a little scary. But basically, these are each chords. So if you wanna use it and add something to your beat, what you wanna do is export your chords and then drag them in. So because we used the Tim Henson plugin, we don't have chords. So really quick, I'm gonna just open up FL Keys and do chords that go along with this, and then we'll drag it into Playbox. Alright, now that we got our chords, we're gonna bounce it as a MIDI. I'm gonna just put it on the desktop. You can make a folder though where you store all your MIDIs for this. Now that we got the chords bounced out, we're just gonna click over here on chords, and then I'm gonna find the MIDI, which is right here, and you're just gonna drag it onto Playbox. And now the chords that you did are mapped to Playbox. If you click on this, this randomizes the samples that you have. So this is randomizing within their presets. But also, you can make your own. Let's say we want all the factory sounds. We can click this little thing, and it means that whatever we set this to, it's gonna do it to all of them. So now that it's all factory, we can click this randomizer, and it's gonna go through a bunch of different sounds. So let's get those chords in there, because I know this is probably still a little confusing. It works similar to arcade in that they get mapped to spots on the piano roll. Also, another thing, my default preset has an effect. You want to turn off the effects, just click that. So let's find those chords. Yeah, they start at C5 and they're just on the white notes. So we can just go in order and click white notes. All right, that's how our chords go. I'm really bad at explaining things. My bad, guys. Also, mine is tuned incorrectly. My play box is a little janky, don't worry. But yeah, we have the MIDI going in order starting on C5 and just doing only white notes. And it's just playing when the chords switch. So you can see it has the same rhythm that the bass had. But yeah, it's a really good way to layer what you already have with really cool textures. All right, now I like this first chord. And what you can do if you just like one of the chords is you can click this randomize button right here. It will randomize just whatever chord you want it to. So we can randomize the other chords. And I like how that sounds. I'm gonna keep that, and what you can do is you can even layer more. We can duplicate it and copy the MIDI over, and we can try doing a more creative one. Let's go a little more in depth. So let's use the effects tab. If we turn this on, you can just randomize it. They got a bunch of different effects. You can go in the effects and go freaking crazy on there. Look at all this stuff. But I just like going through the presets that they have. We can just randomize some effects, randomize some sounds, and see how this layer turns out. Well, hopefully that was a good example of how cool Playbox is. Definitely just, try it out yourself. You can load your own one-shots in there. If you click this little magnifying glass on any of them, it opens up this window, and you can click on user and then drag all your own one-shots in here. You can go crazy, you can randomize forever, and I don't know, it's a really great plugin for if you want to be lazy and make something that sounds like it took a lot of effort when really you didn't put in very much effort. Because, let's be honest, this sounds really intricate. Like, it sounds like you were in there sound designing forever, but it really didn't take that much effort at all. Yeah, let's move on to the next plugin. What we got in store? Cold Fire. Cold Fire is very good. And I'm gonna bundle this in with also some of the other Arturia effects. All of them are pretty great. I wasn't hip for a while, but I've been using them a bunch lately. But let's try taking the Playbox stuff and doing something with Cold Fire. It is really cool on drums, it's really cool on 808s, but I feel like it's just one of the best distortions for doing like creative sound design stuff. So let's see what it will do to this Playbox stuff. See, isn't that sick? Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah, very nice distortion plugin. I use it way too much. Like putting on 808s, like putting on basses, like putting on guitars, like putting it on perk loops. It just makes shit sound alien. It makes shit sound like it's like very futuristic, but not in like a Shaper Box way. Definitely check out Cold Fire. I'm gonna bounce that out because it's cool, but I feel like we should also have the Playbox be dry for certain parts. So maybe we can layer them or something. Or we can run them through another plugin I really like, which is called Fragments by Arturia. I actually have a mixer preset that uses it. It's like a granular plugin, and it just like makes stuff sound super glitchy and cool. Kind of like a crystallizer, but a little different. So we're gonna see what this preset we had that has fragments and halftime and some EQ and soothe on it sounds like. Also, this is getting to have a lot of layers very quickly. Realistically, for the beat, I think this could become, we don't need that layer. But it was a good example of something cool that Fragment. Now, I have another cool example. My boy Beat Sinner has this kit that has a bunch of textures in it. And there's something really cool you can do with textures and the Fragments plugin. So you just want to drag in a bunch of textures or phrases and put them in the same key and then run them through Fragments, and it sounds really cool. So I'm going to try demoing that right now. You don't even have to worry about them being like perfectly in time or anything. It just has to be like in the same key. And you should try throwing some vocals in there too, because vocals sound really sick through this. So I'm gonna go in this XY Nothing kit and try some vocals. All right, we got a bunch of textures and phrases going. They're in the same key. Now we're gonna route it to a channel, and we're gonna try that preset that I tried on the other thing, the one that used fragments. We got EFX fragments with the ornamentation preset. We got halftime, that's me Q, and some suit. And let's see how it sounds. And see, you could totally make something out of that and it would turn out cool. We got very sidetracked. This doesn't really make any sense with what we were making before, but it does sound cool. You know, maybe I'll try bouncing it with just these vocals, and maybe I can pitch it into the same key as everything else. We'll go full circle mode. We only have one more plugin on the list. And that's perfect because this is coming together and it's almost done. Let's try fitting the vocals in with what we have. That doesn't seem right. And those textures worked out after all. Listen to this by itself. It's really sick. Alright, now the last plugin we got is called Pitch Map. Now what we're going to want to do is just unmute everything, make sure everything's playing, just so we have the whole loop going, and we're going to put Pitch Map on the master. Now what Pitch Map does is it basically, you know how if you EQ something and you zero in on one frequency, like frequencies are pitches, so if you zero in on one frequency and turn it up all the way, you're going to hear like a certain pitch come out of it. Well, Pitch Map just does that by itself. So depending on the preset, it's going to change the whole feel of your melody. It's going to make it sound completely different harmonically. Now, I like the special effects ones, but you can try all of them. You can also mess with all of these things. You can mess with all the settings, but it's really cool how you can change the whole vibe of your loop. You know, you could try putting this on loop and it might turn into a whole different loop. So we're going to try running through some presets. And that's crazy because listen to it without the effect. And then with. See, that's a whole different loop, and it can turn out especially cool if you put it on, you know, just one sound. You don't have to put it on a whole loop. Very sick plugin. I'm gonna bounce this out just so we can hear it in an interesting way. I want to try stretching and making an ambience. And it's just crazy to me that that can come from the loop we made. I don't really feel like doing drums on this right now. I feel like it was more about showing you guys the process and how I can use all these cool plugins to make cool shit. But I'm gonna drop the loop in the description. So if you guys wanna use this loop, I'm gonna arrange it and any of you guys can use it because it turned out pretty cool. So like I said, hopefully you guys learned something. And if you want me to cover more cool VSTs and techniques that I use, let me know. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.